The Tripolitan War, also known as the First Barbary War, is a war that does not hold the same power as the Revolutionary War in our memories, but was a very important war for the United States nonetheless. It lasted from 1801 to 1805. These battles were fought over free trade to the Mediterranean Sea. The Barbary pirates had been looting and capturing crew members from American merchant ships, and the United States had finally had enough and wanted access to the Mediterranean freely. The decision to go to war with the Barbary states was not unanimous in America. Looking back on the Tripolitan War, we wonder, was the decision to go to war with the Barbary pirates backed by careful planning and strategy? Or was it a lucky gamble that could have gone horribly wrong? Who were the Barbary pirates? They were a group of pirates from the Barbary states which consisted of Tunis, Algiers, Morocco, and Tripoli. These states were in a perfect position to control trade to the Mediterranean Sea. The pirates would loot and take crew members of ships entering the Mediterranean if the countries they were from did not pay tribute to the leaders of the Barbary states. When America became an independent country, it lost protection from Great Britain and became an easy target for the pirates. Although America was a new country with not a lot of money and infrastructure, they were not going to just let the pirates steal from them.
John Adams and Thomas Jefferson, two large political figures at the time, both had their own ideas for solving the problems the United States was having with the Barbary pirates. Adams thought that it would be risky and unwise to go to war with the Barbary states because America did not have enough supplies and was not in the right position for fighting. He believed paying tribute was the best option for the country. America had also never sent an army to fight overseas, so this was a new idea that Adams did not think was the best way to regain trade to the Mediterranean. On the other hand, Jefferson thought the tribute would cost America too much money, and the problem would still exist, so it would be a better idea to build a navy and go to war. While George Washington was president, Jefferson would write reports to him about the situation with Tripoli and the other Barbary states. Jefferson's opinion became very clear through these papers. In one paper, he wrote, "Aren't we Americans? Since when are we victims?" This shows his frustration with the Barbary pirates after he had poured his soul into this country just to watch traders be ruined by the pirates. He also wrote about how tribute will require large sums of money that America simply did not have access to. He realized that trade to the Mediterranean would be annihilated unless we did something. He proposed building a navy while continuing to pay tribute. Washington trusted Jefferson and he started to build the United States Navy. On June 6 of 1786, Adams sent a letter to Jefferson. Part of this letter read, "Dear Sir, the first question is, what will it cost to make peace? We can have peace when a war would sink us annually 10 times as much." This letter shows Adams's opposition to war and his idea that peace through tribute would cost less money and be less of a burden to America and its citizens. A few weeks after this letter was written, on June 23 of 1786, Jefferson, Adams, and Benjamin Franklin met with representatives from Morocco. They agreed to give the emperor $20,000 and made a treaty of peace and friendship. Around this time, the United States was also working with Algeria to get back the crew of 2 American ships. Even such a small task was a struggle. The Algerians realized how desperate America was and raised the price of each sailor from $200 to $3,000. A theme of exploitation by the Barbary states was common in this time period. After the meeting with the Moroccan representatives, Jefferson sent Adams a letter. Part of this letter read, "Dear Sir, were we to charge all this to the Algerian war, it would amount to little more than we must pay if we buy peace." This letter shows the difference of opinion between the two politicians. Jefferson thinks that war and peace will cost about the same, so war is the better option because it would put an end to the pirates' terror and would not cost the United States yearly. However, the country sided with Adams in this situation and a yearly tribute was paid to the leaders of the Barbary states. By 1797, America was able to make treaties with all 4 of the Barbary states, which was exactly what Adams was looking to do. Jefferson still stood by his opinion though. Jefferson saw the fact that 16% of the entire yearly appropriated United States budget was going to the tribute, which he saw as unsustainable and not the right decision. A few years later, Adams became president and the relationship between America and the Barbary states pretty much stayed the same. When Jefferson eventually came into power, the American Navy, which was created when Washington was president, was comprised of 30 ships. This fact did not go unnoticed by the Barbary States, however, and they raised the price of tribute. Jefferson had seen this was coming, and he had already made his decision. He stopped paying tribute. A few days later, the leader of Tripoli declared war on America, and the Tripolitan War ensued. This conflict lasted 4 years and was felt by America. In the beginning, the war was not in favor of the United States. The blockades were not working, and hope was slowly draining out of the Americans. However, once the United States realized that losing the war wasn't really an option, and Jefferson said, "I know that nothing will stop the eternal increase from these pirates or the pressure of an armed force," more ships were sent out and better plans were made, so the tables started to tip. Things were looking more promising for the United States until the ship Philadelphia was captured by the Barbary pirates. There were many crew members on board and supplies. In fear that the supplies could be sold or used against the United States to give Tripoli an upper hand in the war, Jefferson knew something had to be done. It was decided that Stephen Decatur, a 25-year-old lieutenant, would lead the mission to destroy the Philadelphia. This was risky because he would be leading a crew of about 75 men to burn a boat that had been captured by the Barbary pirates, not to mention the explosive gunpowder stored on board. Despite the risks, it was the best option, so on February 16th of 1804, Decatur and his crew set out in the cover of night on a ketch called the Intrepid. They were able to successfully start a fire on the Philadelphia and get back on the Intrepid safely. As they sailed away with the burning ship and angry pirates behind them, they realized the miracle that had occurred. No one was harmed or killed in the dangerous mission. The British Admiral, Horatio Nelson, called the mission the most daring act of the age, so this was truly a miracle. This was one of the successes of the war and was one of the events that led to a new treaty being signed on June 4th of 1805. This treaty, which was known as the Tripoli Treaty or the Treaty of Peace and Amity, allowed the United States to trade more freely and regain their captured soldiers after a one-time payment. It was the best treaty the United States had made with a Barbary state.
Looking back, we can see how crucial this war was to American history. It allowed the United States to grow the trading economy and to use the Navy overseas for the first time. The Tripolitan War also showed the large European countries that America was not just a new country trying to figure things out, but instead a force to be reckoned with. Although it now seems that war was the right idea, it was still very risky. Missions like the burning of the Philadelphia could have gone horribly wrong and changed the outcome of the war. For the years after the Tripolitan War, America was able to trade freely and expand the economy. We don't know what would have happened if we hadn't gone to war, and the more aggressive decisions by Jefferson seemed to work out positively. But if you were alive in the time period before the war, would you have sided with Jefferson or Adams? And based on your decision, where would you be today?